while in the background it sounds like they're building a whole new freaking planet. In this video I want to talk a little bit into the whole matrix idea, that we live in a simulation. I will talk into how all of this came to be, and how can you actually use this in your advantage. So the matrix was constructed in such a way that you knew it was an illusion, you knew it wasn't real, but it was constructed in such a way that it felt very real, because they invented something like a physical body, a physical appearance. And the most important thing, which made it really real, and this was invented only later, is separation. Separation from source. So, at some point, entities who got trapped in this physical construct, who got trapped in the idea that you're physical and you're just physical, entities that completely forgot that you're actually, you know, physical reality is only your fingertip dipping into the soup, and the rest of you is much larger than that. So they created this false matrix for us human beings to be trapped in. We had to stay here forever. And some nowadays even claim that reincarnation, the wheel of samsara, is a trap. So I will slowly unpack it bit by bit, starting with a bit of history, because a long time ago physical reality didn't exist, and then some dude came up with the idea of can we make something appear like it's solid, because, you know, back then we all knew that everything is an illusion, everything is just a creation of your mind, of your imagination. So they started working on a program called the Matrix. And it's fairly simple, even though, you know, science doesn't understand it. And yeah, whenever science doesn't understand it, it usually ends up with in a drawer somewhere, like, we cannot prove it, so it doesn't exist. So it has no merit to even, you know, make theories about it. Even though we've been doing this for a long time, you know, trying to make sense of the world. But for these physical beings who got trapped in this reality, in order to survive, they realized, I need attention. I need other beings to validate me, to validate my existence, because what grew very large in them was the fear of when you die, when physical reality stops, ends, that you're gonna, you know, you're gonna disappear, you're gonna and I think that's also where the idea of hell came from. You're gonna burn in eternity, you're gonna be lost. That was the major idea, that you're going to be lost. Without your physical body, you're gonna lose your physical body, you're gonna lose connection with your physical body, and then you'll be in this forever dream world where nothing is real and nothing could be held on to. You couldn't accomplish, no, you couldn't gain physical stuff, you know. So they would feel very lost. That was the main fear. So in order to survive, they started creating a false matrix. They started creating, with their imagination, a physical reality where everybody was stuck. Because they noticed that some were not stuck. Some were, for some reason, enjoying this life. They understood life. They understood reality. They understood nature, how nature functions. And they didn't get it. They completely didn't get it. Because for them, everything was nihilistic. Everything was non-relevant. Only life, only physical existence was very relevant. So they created this false matrix for us human beings to be trapped in. We had to stay here forever. And some nowadays even claim that reincarnation, the wheel of samsara, is a trap. Because you were given free will. You are free will, actually. You are the creator. So when you let go of this physical reality, when you die, when you're done, when the break is over, or the movie, the show, then you just go back home. But they created the wheel of samsara, the incarnation, karma, based on guilt and shame and fear. You have to live a good life, otherwise you'll be stuck here forever. And this is how they installed fear into the matrix. And nowadays, you know, first we invented gods to escape this whole idea. Then later we invented science to escape this whole idea. And now nobody believes in anything anymore. No religion and science. No, people don't really believe in science anymore, because, you know, they cannot answer like 90% of the questions we have when it comes to existence. It's just guessing and theories and mathematical equations. But really prove it? No. We all know our dreams. We all know that we dream. And yeah, science is claiming that that's your brain, your psyche, creating this this illusion, this non-existing reality. But when you're dreaming, it feels very real, right? Sometimes it's like even so real that you wake up like all sweaty, like, oh, what the fuck? When you have like a bad dream or a very intense dream. So even though science cannot understand it and really prove it or disprove it, disprove it's being real, it is real. It's just as real as this reality, and some even claim that's actually more real than this reality, because this is the matrix. This is a false reality. This is a created reality, which doesn't make it unreal at all. You know, when we suffer, when we have pain, even when we have joy, you know, it feels very real. So at some point, entities who got trapped in this physical construct, who got trapped in the idea that you're physical and you're just physical, entities that completely forgot that you're actually, you know, physical reality is only your fingertip dipping into the soup, and the rest of you is much larger than that. And when you are in the dream state, you are in that reality where everything is much larger. Physical reality is quite, you know, constricted, bound by rules, while the dream state, the dream world, is not so limited. So the matrix was constructed in such a way that you knew it was an illusion, you knew it wasn't real, but it was constructed in such a way that it felt very real, because they invented something like a physical body, a physical appearance. And the most important thing, which made it really real, and this was invented only later, is separation. Separation from source. Nowadays we say the negative path and the positive path. Maybe some of you are familiar with the Law of One, the channeled messages from the Ra Collective, where they talk about the negative path being service to self and the positive path being service to others. I think that's only a small portion of reality, because it's only it's still dual, you know. It's seen from this dualistic point of view, like it's either this or that. And yeah, for a long time that sounded very logical, but if you study science a little and you understand that there's a proton, a positively charged particle, and an electron, a negatively charged particle, and a neutron. And that third option, that third possibility, makes it possible for you to look beyond dualism. When you look from a neutral standpoint, you will realize it's not black or white. No, black and white are both the outer edges of the gray spectrum. Like black being very dark gray and white being very white gray, but it's actually one and the same. It's just opposite ends. This also makes it a little bit easier to understand that everything is connected, everything is related. But yeah, let's not dive too deep in that. Either you understand it or you don't. If you learn to watch, to observe life from this neutral standpoint, you will start to understand duality much faster, much easier. If not, then of course you are a truth seeker, and you might listen to this video as in, he is telling the truth, or no, I disagree. Which is clearly, you know, the dualistic perspective. Either you agree or you disagree. There's no in between. Well, of course there's there's in between. You maybe agree a little, or maybe you understand it a little.